Have you ever wondered why some people seem to win even when they play unfair, while you, doing everything right, keep falling behind? Why effort doesn't always equal results? Why honesty sometimes feels like a disadvantage? If you've felt that confusion, that quiet anger, that heavy question sitting in your chest late at night, this message is for you. And if you stay until the end of this video, you'll walk away with a mindset shift that most people never develop, the kind that changes how you move through the world forever. Here is the truth most people avoid saying out loud: life is not a clean game. It never was, and it never will be. Some people lie, some manipulate, some smile while planning your loss, and they don't always look evil. Often, they look successful, calm, confident, winning. This realization hurts, especially if you were raised to believe that hard work and good intentions guarantee success. That if you stay patient, fair, and kind, things will eventually balance out. But reality doesn't reward intention, it rewards awareness. And when you don't see the game clearly, you pay for it with wasted time, broken trust, and lost opportunities. Many people don't lose because they are weak. They lose because they are unaware. They assume others play by the same rules. They expect honesty in a world that often values advantage over integrity. That assumption becomes a blind spot, and blind spots are expensive. Think about it. How many times have you been surprised by betrayal? By someone taking credit for your work? By someone using your trust against you? The pain doesn't come only from the loss. It comes from disbelief, from thinking, "I didn't see this coming." That moment is not just emotional. It's educational if you choose to learn from it. Dirty players thrive on one thing: your emotional reaction. Shock, anger, confusion. When emotions take control, logic disappears. And when logic disappears, mistakes multiply. That's how people who play unfair stay ahead. Not because they are smarter, but because they stay detached while others lose focus. This is where most people go wrong. They try to fight dirt with dirt. They try to react, expose, or confront too early. But reaction is not power. Control is. And control begins with understanding the game you're in. Seeing reality as it is doesn't make you cold, it makes you prepared. Awareness doesn't kill kindness, it protects it. Once you accept that not everyone has good intentions, you stop being shocked, you stop being offended, and most importantly, you stop being predictable. Predictability is weakness in a competitive world. When people know how you will react, they can plan around you. They can trigger you. They can trap you. But when you observe instead of react, you shift the balance. You move from being a piece on the board to someone who sees the board. This section is not about becoming ruthless. It's about becoming realistic. You can keep your values without being naive. You can stay ethical without being exposed. The strongest people are not those who never get hurt, but those who learn quickly and adjust silently. Here's the mental shift that changes everything. Not everyone deserves access to your trust, your plans, or your emotions. Trust is earned through consistency, not words. And respect is not demanded, it's established through boundaries. When you accept this, something powerful happens inside you. The world stops feeling personal. You stop asking, "Why did they do this to me?" And you start asking, "What is this teaching me?" That question alone puts you ahead of most people. This is the moment where victims are separated from strategists. Victims stay stuck in emotion. Strategists extract lessons. Victims seek fairness. Strategists seek clarity. And clarity is the foundation of playing smarter. Stay with this message, because what comes next will show you how to protect your energy, your progress, and your future without losing yourself. The reward at the end is not motivation, it's mastery. Once you see the game clearly, you begin to notice something uncomfortable but powerful. Many good people don't lose because they lack talent or effort. They lose because they confuse being kind with being unguarded. They believe openness is strength. They believe everyone values fairness the way they do, and that belief quietly makes them vulnerable. Trust, at its core, is an emotional shortcut. The brain wants safety. It wants simplicity. When someone seems friendly, confident, or familiar, the mind relaxes. It lowers defenses. This is not stupidity. It is human psychology. We are wired to connect. But that wiring can be exploited by those who understand it better than we do. People who play dirty rarely announce it. They don't arrive with warning signs. They arrive with charm, reassurance, and promises. They mirror your values. They listen carefully. And while you are focused on cooperation, they are focused on leverage. This is why honest people are often caught off guard, not because they are weak, but because they expect decency where strategy exists. There is a dangerous idea that floats around in society that staying clean means staying passive, that defending yourself somehow makes you less moral. But protection is not aggression. Awareness is not cruelty, and boundaries are not betrayal. They are self-respect in action. When you give too much access too early, you hand over information, your plans, your fears, your next move. And information is the most valuable currency in any environment where competition exists. Those who misuse it don't need to work harder. They just need to wait for you to expose yourself. Another hidden trap is emotional honesty without discipline, sharing frustration, expressing anger, revealing disappointment. These reactions feel natural, but to a manipulative mind, they are signals. They reveal pressure points. They show exactly where to push. Emotion, when unmanaged, becomes a map. This is why playing clean without awareness becomes costly. Not because honesty is wrong, but because timing and discretion matter. Saying everything you feel is not authenticity. It is impulsiveness. Real strength knows when to speak and when to stay silent. Many people think power comes from confrontation, from calling things out, from proving a point. But confrontation often gives the advantage to the person who planned ahead. They already expected your reaction. They are ready for it. Silence, on the other hand, creates uncertainty, and uncertainty shifts control. When you pause instead of react, you force others to reveal themselves, their impatience, their inconsistencies, their real motives. This is not manipulation. This is observation, and observation is the beginning of intelligence. You don't need to harden your heart to protect your life. You need to sharpen your perception. Start noticing patterns, not promises, behavior, not words, consistency, not charm. People always show who they are, not immediately, but inevitably. The moment you stop explaining yourself to everyone, your energy returns. The moment you stop seeking validation, your confidence stabilizes. And the moment you stop assuming good intentions universally, your decision-making becomes sharper. This is where maturity begins. Not in distrust, but in discernment. You learn that access is earned, that privacy is power, that emotional control is not suppression, it is strategy. Playing smarter does not mean lowering your standards. It means raising your awareness. You don't abandon your values, you protect them. And once you do, you are no longer an easy target. The world hasn't changed. The rules were always there. You just see them now. Once awareness sharpens, a quiet confidence begins to form. You no longer feel the urge to explain yourself, defend every decision, or rush to prove your worth. You start to understand that real power is not loud, it is controlled. And control is the foundation of playing smarter. Playing smarter does not mean becoming deceptive, it means becoming deliberate. Every move has intention, every word has weight, and every silence has purpose. The smartest people in any room are rarely the ones speaking the most. They are watching, listening, processing. While others reveal their emotions, they collect information. Emotional discipline is one of the most underestimated advantages in life. When someone cannot read your reaction, they cannot predict your behavior. And when they cannot predict you, they cannot control you. This is why emotional control unsettles manipulators. They rely on reaction, take that away, and their strategy collapses. Patience is another quiet weapon. Most people rush because they fear being left behind. They feel pressure to respond, to act, to decide quickly. But speed without clarity leads to mistakes. Those who play smarter understand that timing beats speed. Waiting is not weakness. Waiting is preparation. Observation creates leverage. When you slow down, patterns become visible. You notice who speaks differently in different rooms, who promises more than they deliver, who disappears when accountability appears. These details are easy to miss when emotions run high. But when you are calm, they stand out clearly. Smart players also understand the danger of exposure. Not everyone needs to know your goals. Not everyone deserves access to your plans. The moment you announce your next move, you invite interference. Silence protects momentum. Privacy protects progress. There is strength in being underestimated. When people think they understand you, they stop watching closely. They relax, they assume, and that is when advantage quietly shifts. Smart players don't seek attention, they seek results. Another critical shift happens when you stop reacting personally. Manipulative behavior often feels like an attack, but it is rarely about you. It is about opportunity. When you stop taking things personally, you stop bleeding energy, you stay objective, and objectivity allows better decisions. Calmness under pressure is not a personality trait. It is a trained skill. It comes from knowing that you don't need to win every moment to win the long game. Smart players choose their battles. They don't fight for ego. They fight for position. Discipline also means knowing when not to act. Sometimes the smartest move is to let others expose themselves. Lies collapse under time. Inconsistencies surface without confrontation. When you stay still, the truth moves on its own. This is how ethical intelligence operates. You don't cheat. You don't manipulate. You don't mirror dirty tactics. You simply refuse to be impulsive. You refuse to be emotional. And you refuse to be predictable. As this mindset strengthens, fear starts to fade. You realize you don't need to control people. You only need to control yourself. And self-control is the highest form of power. You begin to walk differently. Speak less but with impact. Decide slower but with precision. You don't rush toward validation. You let respect come to you. This is what it means to play smarter. Not louder, not harder, smarter. When you move with patience and emotional control, something subtle begins to happen around you. People start revealing themselves without being pushed. Their habits repeat. Their words stop matching their actions, and what once felt confusing becomes clear. This is where playing smarter turns into quiet advantage. Every person leaves patterns behind. Manipulators rely on chaos, but chaos has structure. They exaggerate. They deflect. They rush outcomes. They test boundaries to see how much they can take. When you are calm and observant, these behaviors become obvious. You don't need proof. You don't need confrontation. Patterns are enough. Most people feel the urge to expose what they see immediately, to call it out, to correct it. But exposure too early often protects the wrong person. It gives them time to adjust, to reframe, to manipulate the story. Smart players understand the power of delay. Information matures with time, and timing decides impact. When you wait, leverage grows. You collect clarity. You notice who sides with whom, who stays silent, who changes tone when pressure appears. This is not paranoia. This is perception. And perception turns experience into strategy. There is also power in letting others underestimate your awareness. When people think you don't notice, they become careless. They repeat the same tactics. They expose more than they intend. And without saying a word, you gain the upper hand. Smart action is rarely loud. It is precise. It happens once, at the right moment, with full understanding of consequences. Not to punish, but to protect. Not to dominate, but to reposition yourself out of harm's reach. Another advantage comes from using information instead of emotion. Emotion clouds judgment. Information sharpens it. When you act based on facts rather than feelings, your moves are clean, justified, difficult to challenge. This is why smart players don't argue. They align reality in their favor. You also begin to understand that not every battle needs to be won publicly. Some victories are invisible, a door quietly closing, access slowly restricted, influence redirected. These changes don't create drama, but they create safety, and safety is strength. Timing matters more than force. Acting too soon weakens your position. Acting too late costs opportunity. But acting with awareness creates precision. Smart players wait for alignment when the environment, the information, and their inner state are all ready. This is where patience transforms into dominance. Not dominance over people, but over situations. You stop being reactive. You stop being cornered. You stop being surprised. You move from defense to control. When you operate this way, fear loses its grip. You no longer worry about being outplayed because you trust your ability to observe and adapt. You know that even if someone tries to play dirty, you will see it before it costs you everything. And here is the quiet truth: most people never learn the goal is not to beat everyone. The goal is to become difficult to damage. Untouchable does not mean isolated. It means selective. intentional, grounded. As this mindset settles in, your presence changes. You don't chase respect. You don't demand fairness. You don't need to prove anything. Your clarity does the work for you. This is how strategy replaces struggle, how intelligence replaces reaction, and how playing smarter turns the game in your favor without ever lowering your standards. When you become difficult to damage, life stops feeling like a battlefield and starts feeling like a space you can move through with intention. You no longer wake up bracing for conflict or betrayal. You carry something stronger than defense. You carry self-mastery. And self-mastery is what makes a person truly untouchable. Untouchable does not mean distant or cold. It means centered. It means you are no longer easily pulled into chaos, drama, or emotional traps. Your calm becomes your shield. Your clarity becomes your compass. And your boundaries become the line no one crosses without consequence. Emotional control is the core of this transformation. When emotions lead, logic follows blindly. But when logic leads, emotions settle. You learn to feel without reacting, to notice without absorbing, to stand present without being shaken. This inner stability is rare, and rarity commands respect without asking for it. Boundaries are the physical form of self-respect. They are not walls, they are filters. They decide what enters your life and what stays outside. When your boundaries are clear, people adjust their behavior around you. Not because you demand it, but because consistency forces adaptation. There is a deep psychological shift that happens when you stop explaining yourself. Over-explaining is often a sign of seeking approval. When you release that need, your words become fewer but heavier. You speak from decision, not doubt, and people feel that difference immediately. At this stage, revenge loses its appeal. You realize that reacting keeps you connected to what hurt you. Results, on the other hand, set you free. Progress becomes the response. Growth becomes the answer, and silence becomes the closure. You also stop measuring yourself against others. Comparison fades when purpose sharpens. You understand that your path is not a race, it is a direction. And as long as you are moving with intention, outside noise becomes irrelevant. Strength now comes from alignment. Your actions match your values. Your decisions match your goals. And your inner world matches your outer behavior. This alignment creates confidence that cannot be shaken by opinions or manipulation. People sense when someone is no longer available for games. They test less. They push less. And when they do try, it fails quietly. Because you don't react, you redirect, you disengage, you move on. The ultimate victory is peace with momentum, not stagnation. Not avoidance. Forward movement without friction. This is what playing smarter leads to. A life where energy is invested, not wasted. You become selective with your time, intentional with your attention, protective of your focus. These choices compound. Slowly, consistently, powerfully. And before you realize it, you are no longer trying to win the game. You have outgrown it. This is the real reward. Not dominance over others, but command over yourself. And when you have that, no dirty play can reach you.